as the 43rd Secretary of State of Michigan since 2019. She graduated magna cum laude from Wellesley College in 1999, and she earned her master's in sociology as a Marshall Scholar in Magdalen College, Oxford. After receiving her master's, she earned her Juris Doctor degree from Harvard Law School. She worked as a general editor of the Harvard Civil Rights, Civil Liberties Law Review. Benson is a profound member of the Democratic Party, co-founder of the Military Sponsors of Michigan, a former dean of Wayne State University Law School, and a board member of the Ross Initiative for Sports for Equality, a venture led by professional sports and networks, some including the NFL, the NBA, to refine race relations in the United States. After she stepped down as the dean of Wayne State, she continued her leadership with Wayne Law as vice chair of the Levin Center's advisory board. In October 2015, Benson was inducted into the 32nd class of Michigan's Women Hall of Fame. She is one of the youngest women inducted into the history of the Hall of Fame. Additionally, Benson has been recognized for her outstanding role as Michigan's Secretary of State. As leading advocate for America's elections since 2020, Benson streamlined registration, maintained accurate voter ID, and facilitated voting. Outside Benson's career in law, she is a long-distance runner and averages about 23 full marathons since 2005. She completed those races in various states, including New York City, Honolulu, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C. In April 2016, Benson made national headlines as one of the only women in history to complete the Boston Marathon 8 months pregnant. Benson's initiative for this year's election is to focus on election integrity, voting access, and civic engagement. She has collaborated on the Democracy Playbook, which is a set of over 40 recommendations by the New Deal Forum aimed at enhancing elections worldwide. While not disclosing specific details, Benson highlighted the investigators' focus on the impact of misinformation on election workers' lives and threats. Benson is a huge advocate for more stern penalties against those who torment election workers and for an increased funding to support elections. Now, please give a warm welcome to our guest speaker, Jocelyn Benson. Jocelyn Benson will be interviewed by the 2024 state runner-up in the basketball championship, Tyler Spratt. Tyler Spratt is a Farmington Hills resident and a senior at North Farmington High School. Next fall, he will be attending Cleveland State University on a full ride for basketball, planning to major in sports broadcasting.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Spratt is a D1 shooting guard and a leading scorer for the North Farmington State Championship run. At North, he has been team captain 3 times. In 2023, he was Bank Hoops Defensive Player of the Year and a 2024 Player of the Year nominee. He earned a 2023 All-State Honorable Mention and was the 2024 McDonald's All-American nominee. Please welcome Tyler Spratt.
Thank you. Okay, before we get started here, is Ms. Benson okay? I can call you back?
Yeah, of
Okay.
course, or Jocelyn's fine.
All right. It seems like during my background, all your roles have just been straight leadership roles. So like that.
Well, you know, my parents were teachers, special education teachers, and really I learned from them how important education is for ensuring everyone has a seat at the table and everyone has the ability to achieve their goals. And I tend to be a little impatient, so I just want to kind of get things done, I think, as oftentimes moms are. And being the daughter of 2 teachers, also really saw the benefit of leading and teaching and education for helping everyone succeed. So I've always been interested in really helping everyone else find their voice and achieve their full potential, and that was really rooted in my parents really doing that with their lives as teachers.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, like, it sounds like education is big to you. What was like your GPA going through like high school and stuff?
Oh my gosh, I don't remember here's the thing, I don't remember my GPA. That tells you how important it is. I'm just kidding. I mean, I think I was around 385-ish when I was in high school. But what I remember most from high school was the relationships, my friendships, even the teachers who I learned from the most, that's really more than any grade I earned. And you know, the relationships and the relationships you build in high school do carry through your whole life. And the teachers who inspire you really set you on a course, and they certainly did for me for my whole life. So far more than, I mean, grades are important because they're a reflection of whether or not you're progressing and learning, and that's important to be able to know. And I say that as a parent. But secondly, the experience in school, in this really, you know, unique moment of high school, is also about what you learn from the people around you and from the people who are here to teach you.
Okay, so what have you liked most about your career?
I think getting to see change as a result of my work. For example, I was the dean at Wayne State Law School. When I took over, we were out of the top 100. Now we're close to the top 50 law school. And really seeing how numbers and data and metrics can help you chart a course for progress. I wanted to feel like something had changed if I showed up to do something. I didn't want to just spin my wheels. And so being able to lead institutions and actually see things change as a result is really gratifying.
Yeah, everything just sounds like it's work. It's so busy. Like, how do you manage to your personal life and from work? Because everything just sounds like your day is full of just work. So how do you manage that?
I think balance is important. I'll tell you all a secret. I don't know if I should say this or not, but I'm going to as an example. Yesterday, my husband and I picked up our son from school and we drove to Cedar Point. I went to Cedar Point for a few hours because they were open in the evening and we wanted to have just like a night to have fun. And then we drove back late last night. And that's an example. Like, my point is, we work during the day, and, you know, during the day I was doing a lot of writing. I wrote a speech that I'm going to get, I did a lot of work during the day. And then, we take a few hours and actually just spend time together as a family having fun. And I think that really sustains you, being able to connect with the people you love and the, activities you love, and that gives you the support and the energy to show up and do work that you love.
Yeah, anything that you have going on in life, it comes with stress, right? So I know your job is full of it. So how do you manage that as well?
Well, I run. I think athletic or sort of physical activity is really important to kind of also staying well-rounded. So actually, whenever I've been running more or less every day since I was 15, progressing to increasing miles throughout the years, but doing some sort of physical activity every day is important, I think.
How many miles do you try to run a day?
I do about 6 to 7 a day now. But when I started, I would do 1 or 2. When I went to college, I went up to 3 or 4. And then, just keep progressing.
Wow.
Because your body gets used to it, then you have to add more miles, then you have to take more time running, but still.
Wow.
I should probably do more than 6 or 7 at this point, but
I couldn't even
I only
do
have so
it.
much time.
Who helped you get to this part? Who helped you get this far in your life? Who was one person that you could say?
I mean, frankly, teachers that I had in high school. I had a very memorable experience when I was a sophomore in high school where we were running what was called the class fair or something like that. And the teacher, my English teacher, gave every student a role to play. And I remember going to the board the day the roles were announced. I didn't see my name anywhere. I wasn't the chef. I wasn't in charge of costumes. I wasn't in charge of anything. And then I looked up and I saw that he had put me in charge of the whole thing. And it was the first time someone actually said, "I believe in you. I think you can do this." And I didn't even believe in myself, but having a teacher who believed in me and believed I could do something before I even believed in myself was really helpful at me, taking a step and being like, "Oh, actually I could do this." And then that's sort of marked my whole life. I think oftentimes we have to step out of our comfort zones and into something that maybe we even aren't sure we could succeed at, to test and see whether we can. And oftentimes we can do much more than we realize.
Mm-hmm. Since we're on the topic of running, as me being an athlete myself, a marathon, 8 months pregnant, that is crazy. I don't think anybody can do it. I honestly don't know how you did it. What is your mindset going through that? How did you complete that?
I think one foot in front of the other. That old adage, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? It's just one foot in front of the other. And I did not expect to finish it, and I didn't even tell anyone other than my family that I was running it. My husband rode a bike alongside me the whole way. But I thought, every time I completed a mile, I thought, I just ran a mile of the Boston Marathon 8 months prior. I just ran 2 miles. When I got to the halfway point, I did half of it. And I just used that to say, no matter what happens next, I did this. And then before you know it, you've done 26 miles.
Wow, that's a big accomplishment, honestly. Okay, so there's a new law that allows pre-voter registration, and that is something that you are trying to promote. Can you tell us a little bit about how this comes to be and why it's so important?
Well, one of the most important things you can do is become a voter, because it's your power, your voice, to actually change things. And in Michigan, 5.5 million citizens voted in 2020. There are almost 2 million young people, ages 18 to 29 in Michigan right now, who could vote. 2 million. So if every young person registered and voted, and in 2020 only 800,000 did, if every young person registered and voted, you could decide every single election on every ballot. You could elect the president of the United States singularly as young voters. That's the power that you have. And every time young voters flex that power, you change things. And so really my message for you all today is to get pre-registered so that as soon as you turn 18, you're on the rolls and you can be an active voter. If you're about to turn 18, or if you'll be 18 in November, definitely register to vote. Because if you and every single other young person in Michigan did, that's it. You guys could get together in a room and decide the whole election. It's really incredible. And so one of the work reason I'm going all around, going to another school later today, to basically say to you all, you guys hold the future. And if you don't use your power to vote, someone else is going to decide that future for you. And there's no one who has a greater stake in whether we have clean air, clean water, safe schools, safe environments in the future than you all. You're going to be living here long after the rest of us are gone. So we need you to have a say and play a role in shaping the future now. And you can do that through voting.
Is there any reason why that motivated you to want to do this, to start a pre-voters registration? Is there a motivation behind it?
Well, a lot of information shows in other states that have done this. My goal is to get as many young people, 18, 19, 20, voting as possible. And it helps when you get your driver's license. You'll be automatically, age 16, you'll be automatically added to the list now so that you can be pre-registered or so. And then when you turn 18, you'll be automatically registered to vote, which means you're in the system, you'll get information about voting, and you can become an engaged voter on day one.
Okay. What is one piece of advice that you can give somebody that wants to pursue the road that you're in?
Believe in yourself and have faith, and know that you, especially in this moment, can really map out a course to accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish, and also be open to change. Be open to allow yourself to evolve in college, in the future, and whatever job you take, but really try to shape your work around a mission, purpose, as opposed to seeking any particular title. And that way you can be driven by the impact you're going to have with your career as opposed to any sort of benchmarks or achievement. And that impact is a much greater sustainable way to actually build a career doing some great things.
Do you have any plans on seeking a higher role?
Oh, we'll see. I'm going to get through 2024 first.
What is something that people do not know about you that you may find interesting?
That I went to Cedar Point yesterday. I think that I really love being a mom. I think that's really just a joy, and it's the times for me when I'm feeling discouraged or like I can't accomplish a certain goal. It's being able to show my son that it's still worth fighting for is really powerful.
All right, quick question. What ride did you ride while you were at Cedar Point?
Does anyone know Cedar Point? They opened Top Thrill 2 yesterday, which is the new replaced Top Thrill Dragster. Does anyone know?
Yeah.
Okay. So I loved the Top Thrill Dragster. We wanted to be there when they opened it. And they opened it for 200, 300 people to come and try it out. So that's what we did.
How was it? What would you do?
It was amazing. We rode it 4 times.
Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy.
It was a lot of fun.
Okay, so what is a negative experience that you were able to turn into a positive?
Gosh. I think, in 2020, the elections in Michigan were really challenging, and you're managing a high turnout election in a very intense year during the COVID pandemic. And we leveraged a lot of different things, including attacks on our state to become stronger. We had more people voting than ever before. And so I think it can be a superpower if you learn how to take on challenges or setbacks and actually use them to make you better, either so that you don't encounter the same setback in the future, or you learn how to overcome it in the moment and make it a win. So I think that's a really important skill that we learned in 2020, all of us, as we dealt with a lot of setbacks that we never anticipated, and use that to make us better. And certainly our election system became much stronger as a result of more people voting. And I'm really proud that our clerks, I think the Farmington Hills clerk is here today. Where she was, I don't see. She's out registering voters, but our clerks really stepped up, even in the midst of a pandemic, to make sure everyone who wanted to vote could do so. And we had more people voting than ever before as a result, so it was a great win.
Yeah, speaking of the COVID situation, like that was a setback for everybody. How were you able to guide others and like help out with that situation?
We have a good team running Michigan, myself, the governor, the attorney general. We work together regularly. We looked at the data and the health, and we sort of set politics aside and just came up with a plan to protect people. That's
great. All right, my last question here for you. We have like freshmen going to sophomore year, seniors going to college. What's advice you can give to all of us in here for us to make that adjustment, make that change?
Think about what you want to impact, what you want to have change as a result of you being, even at the college that you're going to go to, more than what you're going to do or what job you're going to have. All of that's important to think about, but look at jobs and employment opportunities as a way to impact other people's lives in a positive way, and really become a warrior on behalf of that purpose that you identify. Really become, committed to it in a way. For me, it was making sure more people are voting, believing that if more people are voting and that we actually have a political system that reflects every voice, the decisions that are made in government will be better. And so that became my purpose. That became my driving force. And also, there's a lot in life that is meant to try to make you feel like you don't have a voice, or you don't matter, or your experience doesn't count, or your voice isn't worth expressing. Nothing could be further from the truth. The thing to know is that your voice is your most powerful tool for standing up for yourself and your community, and your state, and your country. And to really identify ways that you could use your voice, which is very unique to you and your experiences, believe in your voice, and use it to stand up for yourself and your community and your state and your country, then you can accomplish great things no matter where you stand.
Okay, thank you for taking time out of your busy day, busy schedule to be here with me. Can we please give a hand for Ms. Jocelyn Benson?
Thanks, Tyler. Thanks, guys.
She wants to explain to us about her pre-voter registration drive. So can we hold questions till after that, please? Thank you.
Cool. All right, now I'll come up here. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Okay, you want me to come up here?
All
right. So I think we just have a few more minutes, and I'm happy to take some questions as well, but I wanted to run through some information for you as well about voting while I'm here. Now, typically we do an actual mock election. I don't know if, it doesn't look like we'll actually be able to, with the setup, we usually have ballot boxes up front. But the idea is to, yes, sorry. I saw someone waving. Oh, they are there? I just don't see them. Okay. Oh, there they are. Okay, got it. So we'll see what we have time for, but certainly want to walk you through some specifics around voting. And we can get this, there we go. So you heard a lot about me. My job is to serve as the Chief Election Officer for the state of Michigan. I also oversee all of our branch offices, which are where you go to get your driver's license. And many of you may have already gone there to get your driver's license recently. In addition to that, we oversee, along with the clerks, our elections. And our office is a nonpartisan way to help ensure all those clerks can run our elections well and effectively. Of course, elections are ultimately about the voters. Next slide, please. All of you, when you turn 18, if you're a citizen or resident for at least 30 days and not currently serving a sentence in prison, you can vote. As long as the election happens when you're 18 years old, you can vote. Keep going on the slide. There we go. There are 3 ways to register to vote, but are any of you going to be 18 in November and not registered to vote? If you are, if you want, you can register right before you leave today, right outside. And if you're 16 or 17, which I think most of you are, you can all pre-register, which means you can sign up today to be registered to vote as soon as you turn 18. You can also, if you want to, use this QR code, scan this and register to vote right now online. That's something that we're also rolling out this year. Once you're registered to vote, there are 3 ways to vote, 3 ways to get your ballot and return it. You can vote from home, you can vote in person the week before Election Day, or you could vote on the last day of voting, which is Election Day itself. So what you're going to see today are the different ways to cast your ballot. And you have a choice. You have options to vote in Michigan, whether you vote from home and then complete your ballot and send it in the mail, or drop it off at a drop box, or you vote early the week before Election Day at an early voting center in person, or at your precinct on Election Day itself. This is a drop box. This is if you're voting from home, what you'll use to return your ballot if you don't use it through the mail. And you can also, if you want, track your ballot online to make sure it's been received if you choose to vote from home. And you can also ensure that your ballot was received by contacting your clerk. When you do register to get to vote from home, you can also sign up to always vote from home, meaning you could fill out a form, and before every statewide election or every election, you'll get a ballot mailed to you about a month ahead of time, and you've got several weeks to return it either at a drop box or through the mail. This year, there are 2 statewide elections, one in August and one in November. Does anyone know the difference between these 2 elections? Why are we having 2? Go ahead.
We have the primaries to see like who can run, and then the president is like who you're actually going to vote for.
Exactly. Then the primary election in August is choosing who from each party is going to run for positions like state representative, Congress, the United States Senate, and then the big shebang is in November, the general election, and that's when you choose who actually is going to serve in those positions based on the people who are selected in August. So my office, right about now, actually this week, has gotten all of the applications from people who want to be on the ballot in August. We will now make those ballots. They'll get out in August. If you sign up to vote to vote from home, they'll be mailed to you in July. And then in August, people will look through all the names and choose the person they want to be on the ballot in November, and then that person, and then everyone comes together in November and choose who actually gets elected. Does anyone know there's 3 statewide offices up this year. One is the presidency, where everyone in the state will be voting for one of 2 candidates. Another is, anyone know? Go ahead, I heard it. Go ahead, use your voice. It's the U.S. Senate. A senator will be elected, and then one other statewide position is the Michigan Supreme Court will be elected. So those 3 positions, along with many local positions, will be on the ballot this fall. And as I was talking about earlier, what I'm really here today to help you see is the power of your voice and the power of the youth vote. There's a myth out there that one vote doesn't count. And go ahead, you can go to the next. There's a myth out there that one vote doesn't count, and a lot of common myths about voting. And it's true. Oftentimes, you do cast one vote in an election. But as I was alluding to earlier, the vote itself can mean many different things. One, it's a statement. You're adding yourself to a list of active voters. There are several million active voters in our state. But by adding yourself to that list, by actively voting, you're going to get more information from candidates. You're going to hear about other opportunities to speak up and speak out about things like clean water or being able to pay for higher education. And you're also, of course, going to influence the election, not just of a statewide official, but local officials as well. In addition to that, next slide, please. Go ahead, you can keep going. In addition to that, there's a lot of feeling that young people don't make a difference in elections. And keep going, there we go. But in reality, as I mentioned, young people make up 50% of the voting age population. So voters aged 18 to 29 are half of the population in the United States. And there's close to 2 million of you 18 to 29 eligible to vote in Michigan. And that's an election, that's in a state where anywhere from 4 to 5 million will vote total in an election. And so if you look at these numbers, in 2020, voters 18 to 29 were 40% of the electorate. In 2024, you'll be 48%, and in 2028, you'll be over half of the electorate in the state of Michigan. So you may feel that your voice doesn't matter, but the actual truth is it's the opposite. Your voice can determine the outcome of any election by working together with other folks at your school and your age group all across the state. And that's real power. And you can exercise that power in a state like Michigan, where already more young people are voting than ever before. Yet it's only 38%. Only 38% of young people voted in 2022, and 50% of young people voted in 2020. So you've got half of you sitting it out, half of you not voting. And if just 25% more young people voted, you could influence and change the outcome of any election. So that's what I want you to see today, that you actually have the power to choose the next president of the United States this fall if you're going to be 18. You could directly influence through voting in Michigan who becomes president, and certainly you can directly determine who's serving Michigan in the Senate and who's serving on the Michigan Supreme Court. And so if we have some time, I'm not sure if we have, do we have a little bit more time? Okay, how much more time do we have? About 10 minutes. So I want to run through a quick mock election so that you can see the different ways in which voting works, not just to elect candidates, but to express your view as a voter. So let's vote on something. What do you want to vote on? Whether school should end a month early? That might be a little popular. Whether school should go down to 4 days a week? Go ahead. What do you want to vote on?
Standardized tests and whether it should be.
Whether you should take them at all? No, it feels a little bit too slanted. Standardized tests and whether they should be on paper or online? Okay. On paper or online, standardized testing. Now, sometimes folks want to decide whether, what's better, pancakes or waffles, but we'll do this. You're very academic focused. I appreciate that. So that's what we're going to vote on today. And I need someone to serve as the Secretary of State in this election. Who wants to do that? Volunteer? Go ahead. Come on up, sir. What's your name? Art? Arhop. Great to meet you, our Secretary of State. And now I need someone to serve as a clerk. Who can serve as a clerk? Come on up. All right. Arhop. Nice to meet you, Secretary Arhop. And our clerk's name is? CJ. Come on up, CJ. So CJ, I need you to choose 4 people to work for you. These 4 people are going to be poll workers. So you've got to hire 4 poll workers. 2 poll workers will count the ballots, and 2 poll workers will collect the ballots. And then Secretary of State. So we got our 4 poll workers, come on up. And then Secretary of State Arhop, I need you to choose or allow 2 people to observe the process. Election observers observe the elections and make sure everything's going smoothly. And so anyone who wants to be an election observer, raise your hand. And then Arhop, you decide who you allow to be the observer. You can choose 2.
The 2 in the front.
All right, come on up, guys. All right. So we've got, everyone have ballots underneath your seats? You got your ballots? Everyone should have ballots. So you're going to vote online or paper. Okay? Now, where are our 2, CJ, who are the 2 poll workers who are going to collect the ballots? Okay, you guys each get a box. You go out and collect those ballots. Now, the first group of people who can vote are those who are voting from home, because you get your ballots first. So our 2 poll workers are going to come around. If you're voting from home, raise your ballot after you voted it. You can vote anytime during the voting period, but you guys can go collect the ballots. Now, who's our counters? You guys are our counters? Yeah. Okay, and you're our observers. So your job is just to make sure everything goes smoothly. especially when they count. We need to make sure they count correctly. So you guys are going to be, and then clerk, they all work for you. So if you see anyone not working or not collecting the ballots, okay, good. All right, and so you guys set up wherever you want to set up to receive the ballots. And the early voting period has now begun. If you're voting early, you can cast your ballot. We'll have one more slot on election day, and I'll let you know when election day is. That's when everyone can vote, and then when the polls close, voting is done. So, Secretary Arhop, your job is going to be announcing to everyone the winner, and Clerk CJ is going to tell you the results. He'll report them to you, and you'll announce them. Once they start counting, I will interview you as the media, and you can tell me what you're seeing. All right. I'm going to play the role of the media in this. Actually, do we want Tyler and do you want our media to come up? Do you guys want to be media? Come on up, media. Okay, early voting's about to end. If you have early voting on your card, make sure you're voting. Your vote is in, because early voting ends the Sunday before Election Day. Okay. It's now Election Day. Everyone who has in-person voting on Election Day, that's your third option to vote. Absentee or voting from home, you can still return your ballot up until the deadline. Got about 20 seconds left. If your ballot is not in the ballot box in 20 seconds, Election Day is over and your ballot will not count. Okay. Our media, come on over here. Thank you for coming up here. So you're going to be communicating on the process. So the clerk CJ is going to tell the results to Secretary Arhop at the end. And in between all of this, you're covering the election. So you can ask anyone questions that you want to ask them. But you can't talk to the poll workers, but you can talk to the clerk and the Secretary of State. Go ahead. Ask him some questions. All right, guys, the media is going to ask some questions for our Secretary of State. Polls are about to close. Secretary of State, how many people are voting? There are a lot of people voting. What's the turnout? What can we know? Go ahead. Yeah.
High school, whether standardized testing should be online or in person.
Got it. 40 people are voting. Whether standardized testing should be online or in person. Polls are about to close. Yeah, that's a good idea. Get the mic. That's a good idea. Polls are about to close. Their polls are closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, if your ballot's not in, you can't vote. We now have the counting process begin. Can I have okay, you got the mic? All right. You guys should be asking the clerk and the Secretary of State to tell you the results. All right. Right about now. Oh, no, the polls have closed. Oh, you're helping them tally. Sorry that she was voting. Sorry. I'm the media. I don't know what I'm seeing. I'm just...
Oh, I get it.
Okay, our observers are making sure everything's going smoothly. Media, you can interview the observers as well and ask them what they're seeing.
Are you seeing good results yet on the election?
Use a clerk, but the clerk can talk to the press. Go ahead.
We're seeing great results out here in Detroit. Michigan. We think it's gonna be get a good split, about a 50-50 between these standardized testing, and we just hope we have a good result, good turnout, and yeah.
It's good to know. Good to know.
What do you feel like the deciding factor is going to be?
I think it's going to be the in-person voters. I can kind of tell that it's 50-50 from the absentee and the online voters, so we'll see what happens.
I have a question. Why is it taking so long? What's actually happening over there? You guys are taking a really long time.
I'm making sure.
How do I know are you stuffing the ballot box over there? Is that what's going on? Is that what The polls have closed. Secretary Arhop, the polls have closed. Why? Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know if the Secretary of State should be saying that. Secretary has gone rogue. Tell me what is actually happening.
Well, I think that organizing all the votes from the ballot and looking at the online and absentee votes, it's taking a bit of time and things are getting a bit mixed up. So it might take a day or two just to figure it out.
And maybe accuracy. They're making sure, they're being very careful. They're checking on accuracy.
Yeah.
They're making sure. We have disruption happening over here. But you guys are taking your time to make sure the results are accurate, right? Yeah, you can't be pressured by the media.
Don't get pressured by the media.
And it sounds like the clerk will soon have a result, and the clerk will, once you have the result, you'll tell the Secretary of State, and the Secretary of State will announce it. So what you see is what actually goes on behind the scenes in any election. Everyone's voting. Everyone has different ways of voting. The counting process can actually be quite stressful, especially when you've got so many people watching and hovering over, and you've got the media saying, where are the results? Where are the results? But what you're seeing also happen is that it takes some time to count the ballots accurately. And it looks like we have our results. All right. The results are in. They're about to be publicly announced.
No, you're supposed to announce.
Yeah.
The results of the ballot are out. Online standardized testing won over in person.
What were the numbers? What were the numbers?
In a landslide.
Clerk, what were the numbers? Clerk CJ. They just said it. They won. They don't know the count. You guys don't know the count. You just feel in your.
So online standardized testing had 51 votes, and in person had 17.
Wow.
Online won by a landslide.
A landslide. Online it is. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being a part of this. Thanks, guys. Let's hear it up for our Secretary Arhop, Clerk CJ. Great job, Clerk CJ. A great election staff. Observers, did you see anything? You see anything that seemed a little funky? Yeah. Oh, you did? There were irregularities. How can we trust the results? Should we trust the results? I don't know if we should, honestly. Uh-oh, the observers think there was election fraud. Oh, I thought you meant like what people wrote on the papers. Well, you can't look at the ballots, but you can look at the procedures. Were the procedures okay? Oh, okay. Everyone actually was. Okay, I'm sorry. They thought there was election fraud, but they didn't see any evidence of it, and in actuality, it was a fair election. Is that what you're saying? All right, let's give it up to our great volunteers today. Thank you. So I hope all of you do register or pre-register to vote as you leave, and thanks again for having me here today.
One quick question. Many of you have IDs that are pink, yes? Some of you have state IDs that are pink, and our officer and we as administrators don't know the answer when they ask us why there's pink. Not to put you on the spot.
They're probably a junior license, a junior driver's license.
Gotcha. So pink would be the junior.
Yes. Yeah, like they're not yet 18. So when you turn 18, you get a new, or 21 maybe it is, you get a new license. Okay.
We can give the secretary a round of applause again.
Thanks, guys.